Ten years ago, a friend gave me a book about something called Wabi Sabi. The book opened my eyes to an extraordinary idea, a Japanese view of the world that seems to celebrate the beauty of imperfection. Ever since then, I've wanted to come here to find out more.
Ah, here you go. It's Marcel Theroux. I think you've got a reservation for me. So I had a favour. I wonder if you could help me. I've come from London. I'm interested in finding out about Wabi Sabi. And I was wondering if you could write Wabi Sabi for me in Japanese characters. Do you know what it is? What is it? What is Wabi Sabi? Yeah. What is it? What does it mean? Oh, it doesn't matter. I'll ask someone else. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to... This isn't going to be as easy as I thought.
This is the start of a dream I've had for a decade. A journey across Japan to find the real meaning of Wabi Sabi. I've never set foot here before, but I feel as though Wabi Sabi has given me a connection to this place. It's a difficult idea to explain, but as far as I understand it, Wabi Sabi is the beauty of things that are not quite perfect, which are unfinished, random. As soon as I started looking for it, I felt like I could see it everywhere, and it seems like the perfect antidote to the materialism of modern life, an ideal of beauty that you can find in a broken pot or a handful of leaves. But Wabi Sabi is supposed to go deeper than this. It's said to be a fundamental part of the Japanese identity, and if that's true, I think there's a lot we can learn from them. Tokyo's an extraordinary introduction to Japan, but it also feels a bit like a Western city on steroids. And emerging into the fashionable Shibuya district, there's no immediate sign of Wabi Sabi at all.
I'm trying to find out about Wabi Sabi. Wabi Sabi. No, Wabi Sabi wa nan desu ka? Wabi Sabi. Wabi Sabi.
Difficult to explain.
What
are you doing?
I'm trying to find out about Wabi Sabi. I've come from England to find out about Wabi Sabi.
You can't just find.
Why? You speak English? Do you speak any English?
Yeah. I can speak English.
Fantastic.
Fantastic.
Fantastic. What is Wabi Sabi?
What?
Wabi Sabi.
Wabi Sabi.
Yeah, Wabi Sabi.
Japanese heart.
Japanese art. I'm trying to find out about Wabi Sabi. Does it say in your phone?
わびは質素で静かな暮らしを楽しむこと。
Wabi Sabi or Wabi Sabi? Yeah, Wabi Sabi.
あ、これあれじゃない？国語とかでさあるお詫びしましたとかそういうやつ。It means sorry.
Sorry.
Sorry. Sabi. Sabi. Accident.
Accident.
Yes.
It means sorry, I had an accident. Okay, that's not what I thought it meant, but thank you very much. Domo arigatou gozaimasu. Oh well.
I'm tired and groggy from jet lag. It feels like a lot of what I'm being told is just getting lost in translation. What does the young man mean who says Wabi Sabi is Japanese heart? But these are ordinary Japanese people, and if Wabi Sabi is really part of their culture, they surely should know what it means. But it's dawning on me that all the books I've read about Wabi Sabi are by Westerners, and maybe they're just wrong.
Some of these books make it sound so simple, I think maybe too simple in some cases. Some of them it's just a kind of part of a one-size-fits-all Eastern spirituality that, you know, might or might not include Reiki, Tai Chi, Feng Shui. It would be distressing for me if Wabi Sabi just became another part of consumer culture and people marketed Wabi Sabi perfumes and underwear and encouraged you to have a Wabi Sabi corner of your house, and, you know, and that's my new Wabi Sabi wardrobe that I spent 1,500 quid on. Would be, I think, a travesty of what I understand by Wabi Sabi.
My business hotel room feels like a little bubble with no connection to the world outside. I've slipped on my standard issue yukata dressing gown, but neither it nor the heated toilet seat is bringing me any closer to Wabi Sabi. I feel like I need to get out of here and find some way to get acquainted with the real Japan. A family have agreed to put me up for a few nights. They live in the suburbs of Tokyo, in a place called Hiyoshi. It's a 20-minute ride on the express train from the heart of the city.
It's Marcel. Hi. Is that Mrs. Awamoto? I'm Marcel. Nice to meet you. Hi, Mr. Awamoto. Nice to meet you. How are you doing? Hi.
I found the Iwamoto family through a company that organises homestays.
I brought you some flowers.
Thank you.
I'm hoping they'll be able to lead me closer to Wabi Sabi enlightenment.
I met a lot of people who don't even, you know, didn't seem to know what I was talking about. So I started to get a bit worried that maybe I was on a fool's errand.
Did you already find the hint or hint of Wabi Sabi?
Yes, that's maybe a little, maybe a teeny hint. That's exactly what I found. A hint of Wabi Sabi. But I'm hoping to find the full Wabi Sabi.
Oh.
I've took some pictures which I thought were Wabi Sabi. Can I show you my Wabi Sabi pictures? Sure. I have to give you some context, though. You've got to remember that I'm not a photographer, and I just took these near my house because I thought Wabi Sabi was beauty of imperfection. You know, the beauty of imperfect things. So I took pictures on Tooting Common, which is a common near where I live, and I just took things like leaves and, you know, leaves and objects. And I thought, to me, this is what I thought was Wabi Sabi. Was this kind of, was this sort of in a visual aesthetic, you know, things like that. I don't know, is that Wabi Sabi?
Yeah, they have Wabi Sabi.
They have Wabi Sabi.
They have Wabi Sabi.
They have Wabi Sabi. But you might just being polite.
Yeah. So it is very difficult for Japanese to describe what Wabi Sabi is.
Yes.
Maybe most of Japanese know the word of Wabi Sabi and kind of sense, like this picture.
Yes.
Yeah. I think Wabi Sabi is in our soul, I mean.
Yes.
Yeah, it's more spiritual.
A spiritual sense.
I think it's
Wabi Sabi is in our soul, says my host Yaz. I wonder if the photos I took are even close to what they feel it really means.
I agree with you. It does, and that's my son. He isn't Wabi Sabi, but he is.
This is our room. Yeah.
This is your room?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So this is your room.
Okay, fantastic.
Yeah. So we are sorry for the some kind of.
The Lego. Don't apologise. I love Lego. I sleep on here.
Yeah.
Great.
一番下
そうよ。
でさこれきれいにしなきゃ
It's funny, we keep being told that the world is getting smaller and we're all becoming the same. But I feel like I'm as far from home as I've ever been, but in a good way. I like it here.
Kohi or kudasai?
You need coffee?
No, I'm just practicing my Japanese.
Oh, it's okay.
Arimasu ka? Arimasu ka? Arimasu ka? This is the Iwamoto's room, and this is my room, with a discreet sliding door between us. Night night.
So, I've got to talk quietly because... Oops, hang on. I'm talking quietly because the Iwamotos are next door. You can hear there's all three of them in one bed. and the door's about this thin, so... anyways, there's not a lot of privacy. I mean, I'm practically in the same bed as the rest of the family. I mean, lack of personal space seems to be, maybe it's one of the keys to understanding this culture. I was thinking words that, I wonder if there's any Japanese equivalent for personal space, me time, you know. I wonder what Japanese for me time is. Every morning, Yaz joins the mass of exhausted commuters heading for the city centre. Tokyo's huge. Getting on for 13 million people live here, with another 2 or 3 million commuting into work every day. Yaz is a marketing man, working for a small company that arranges study trips abroad. And I've a sense from his jaunty yellow jumper that he might be a bit of a maverick. But Yaz tells me that he respects traditional Japanese values and that if I'm to understand Wabi Sabi, I must get to grips with them. So before I leave him for the day, he invites me to attend his company's daily morning meeting, where the staff line up and repeat a sort of mantra of polite formalities. It's a scene played out in workplaces throughout Japan. I can't imagine an office in the UK doing this without breaking down in fits of self-conscious giggles.
HIJ を利用してうちの家に泊まってわびさびを探しているマルセルさんです。
Hello, my name's Marcel. I've come to Japan to find out about Wabi Sabi. I hope it's not as silly as an idea as it seems to be, judging by your laughter.
I'm worried that my quest strikes them as funny because they think it's impossible. Yas said Wabi Sabi was part of the Japanese soul, but that soul seems hidden behind a lot of ritual and formality. I asked one of Yaz's colleagues to explain to me what's going on.
So we try to, they're more sincere than, just the business ties in. So we're just practicing those daily greetings towards the customers.
Practicing sincerity seems a bit of a contradiction in terms to me. It makes me wonder, are people so welcoming in Japan because they really fundamentally mean it, or because it's the done thing? I've left Yas at work for the day. I need to make sure that I'm not barking up the wrong tree, so I've come here to brush up my Japanese art history. This is Tokyo's National Museum. If Wabi Sabi has ever existed, there must be some in here. The museum catalogue talks about the development of the Wabi Sabi aesthetic, in the 16th century. It explains that Japanese taste turned away from elaborate decoration in favour of a rustic simplicity that found its greatest expression in the tea ceremony. These pots are exactly what I'm after. Their asymmetry and imperfection is what I understand by Wabi Sabi.
Mr. Harada-san, konnichiwa.
Konnichiwa.
Nice to meet you.
Welcome to our museum.
Thank you very much. I wanted to ask you about these beautiful pots.
Yes.
They're so different from everything else in the gallery. What's going on? Why are they like this? They're sort of strange.
それが茶の湯の中に入り込んできて、いわゆる派手な世界とは別に落ち着いたしっとりとした世界の中で、その本来的にその作品の持っている美を見出そうという、そういう意図があって作られていたものなんです。作った人がそれに美を見出したかどうかは分かりませんけれども、それを見た人はお茶人として茶人が見てこれに美を見出して、そしてそれを失敗作だけれども使おうと。
I think this is so radical that it takes a great sophistication to see beauty in something. I mean, you know, that's wrong, isn't it? That part is wrong, and that's crooked, and you know, that's a big shift in mentality from seeing beauty in something elaborate and perfect to seeing it in something that looks almost like it's been dug up out of the ground.
I think there's something profound and lovely about these pots. But having attended the morning meeting at Yaz's company, with all its regimented behaviour and lack of spontaneity, it does make you wonder. Here is a culture that is almost unimaginably orderly, and yet apparently values haphazard beauty. One of the things that's always fascinated me about Japan is its poetry, and especially haiku. The rules for haiku are as strict as you would expect. 3 lines of 5, 7, and 5 syllables. Each haiku must contain a word that evokes the season. In spite of their brevity, haiku are supposed to convey a sense of time passing, and even death.
This is Basho, the most famous haiku poet ever. And he's actually a god. I mean, he's literally a god in the Shinto religion, all because of his amazing skill at writing haiku. One of his most famous ones is about a frog jumping into a pond. In fact, that's more or less the entire haiku just there. An old pond, a frog jumps in, splash is more or less how it goes in most translations. Ohayou gozaimasu.
All over Japan, there are haiku clubs where enthusiasts meet to share their passion.
Sumimasen, I don't speak Japanese.
This group is seeking inspiration in Tokyo's Shinjuku Park.
And how many haiku do you write today?
5.
5 haiku.
The teacher
This is
gives
the
the
way.
group specific autumn season words to use in their poems, like maple leaf and north wind. Reverence for nature and the seasons is a big part of traditional Japanese culture, and the national craze for spring cherry blossoms is well known, but autumn leaves inspire similar devotion.
Taking pictures of the autumn leaves on their mobile phones.
Hearing about my quest, the haiku teacher wants me to understand that the idea of Wabi Sabi can be split into 2 parts, and each means a different thing.
I think I understand that the wabi is simplification and cutting out the inessential and simplifying things down to what's really important. But can you explain the sabi again? Yuriko was explaining the sabi.
Sabi is change, but if Yuriko is very baby Yuriko,
Yeah.
but Yuriko is Yuriko. the change.
And so Sabi is my sense of her change, or our sense of her changing into a time passing, and the changing that's happening to Yuriko.
小さい時は、小さくても今でも私はゆり子なんです。それで、ですけどその段階を経て今に来て、それで中身は変わってないんですけれども、周りが変わっていってる。
This sense of change, or transience, is at the heart of haiku. I've only got 20 minutes to write my 5, each evoking Sabi, before they're scrutinised by the members of the club.
I've done maples, I've done cherry. What else is there? I've got 3 more to go. I'm not sure this is in the spirit of haiku to be kind of banging them out like they're maths homework.
A quick snooze before I'm subjected to some literary criticism. I hope the group will enjoy my maple haiku. 5-fingered flower spreads wide in the wind to catch maple-coloured sun.
さっきお話ししたようにね、そこ入り口のとこに花やつでがあったでしょ。でその花やつでがね、花のやつでがあって、その花の手が5つの手をフィンガーを広げてね、もみじに差し込む日差しを掴んでるっていう句なんです。これは非常によく掴んでますよね。
You're being very kind, but I think a haiku wakarimasen, because it's so complicated, and I think my haiku have too many things in them, and they need to be more simple. I think they need to be more simple.
If Wabi Sabi is part of the Japanese soul, I feel it should be everywhere. But whole parts of Tokyo seem like a Wabi Sabi desert to me.
It's all quite Blade Runner. I keep thinking it makes Tottenham Court Road look like, what, you know, little small town thing.
Someone hands me a flyer for something called a maid cafe. There are loads of them in this area, and I'm told they're a sort of modern-day version of the Japanese tea ceremony, which is central to the Wabi Sabi aesthetic. They're not hard to find, you just have to be able to open the door.
Nice. Yeah, I say nice. It's the wrong.
Konnichiwa. It's the wrong floor. Okay. I won't headbutt the glass. Oh, konnichiwa. Hello, I'm Marcel. And nice to meet you.
This place is bizarre. The maids are talking in high-pitched baby voices, using old-fashioned courtly language. It's a fantasy world, but it's not a sexual one, unless your idea of erotica is hanging out with the Teletubbies.
Welcome to At Home Cafe.
Oh, thank you very much.
はい、それではメニューのご説明をしたいと思います。では、こちらドリンクメニューの
The maid cafe is like some sort of pastiche of a child's world.
本日は
The menu is like something from a children's tea party. There's even a little magic on offer to help make the perfect cup of tea.
Okay, do as I do. Do as I hot,
Hot.
and
Moin.
Cute. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. 3, 2, 1.
Moin. Cute.
Okay. Right.
Okay,
Now
that's
it
fine.
has become delicious.
Oh, wait, let me just taste, let me just see. Oh my God, that's become so delicious. So this is not meant to be real. This is like something a bit unreal in here, in the maid cafe. It's like a...
Yes.
It's like a fantasy. It's a fantasy.
And,
very relaxing.
yeah, relaxing atmosphere.
And maybe if you had a very difficult day, work is very stressful.
Yes.
It's the cure. It's the cure.
For a fee, the maids will play children's games with you. At first glance, it's all a little disturbing. But however bizarre it may be, it still resembles much of Japanese life in its concern for rules and order. As I make my way across town to join Yaz, the maid cafe makes me feel that Wabi Sabi may be an endangered species. The cafe's bright colours and artificial behaviour seem like the very opposite of what has brought me to Japan. Like millions of Japanese, Yaz and his colleagues choose to let their hair down in the karaoke box. I was reading about these words, honne?
Honne.
Tatemae. Yeah, what is that? Everyone's making the puzzled Wabi Sabi face.
In Japan, if I don't like you, I never say I don't like you to you. And smiling.
And is that important in Japan? Those important ideas?
That's important because we have to survive.
Okay. No, you have to live together. You have to live together. So tatemae is the hiding my feeling inside.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
honne is I don't like you.
You go straight.
Well, I really is honne. But I noticed like when you're all here together, you all tease each other. It's quite friendly and nice, and and you joke with each other.
Yeah, he teases always.
But so maybe in the karaoke box you can say whatever you like and it doesn't matter. Can you be a bit more honne in here?
Yes. We use Doreen. Yes, Doreen.
So what happens in the box stays in the box.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
In the deserts of Sudan and the gardens of Japan.
I'm in complete sympathy with the Japanese love of karaoke. In fact, it's something I like doing back in the UK. It's a great leveller. It's not about doing it well, it's about having a go.
Hit me! Hit me! Je t'adore et Lumberding! Hit me! Hit me! Hit me! Hit me slowly. Quick! Hit me! Hit me! Hit me!
At the end of the evening, Yaz's colleagues politely wait for each other as they get out of the lift. One says, "That's Wabi Sabi," attentiveness to others. Beyond wonky pots and seasons, it's dawning on me that the Japanese associate Wabi Sabi with a whole attitude, a whole way of being in the world. I feel slightly wrong-footed by Tokyo. It's hyper-modern, but it seems that people's behaviour is determined by much older codes and traditions. I feel pretty sure that one of them is Wabi Sabi. The time has come to get away from this futuristic city. To understand Wabi Sabi better, I think I need to go deeper into Japan's past and head for the old capital, the home of Japan's most ancient traditions, Kyoto. This is the bullet train for Kyoto. An army of cleaners looking like intensive care nurses stand by to prepare the train for its onward journey. They greet the passengers with trademark Japanese courtesy before tackling the spotless train. There's no graffiti or vandalism anywhere near a Japanese train. Decades of investment in Japan mean that things not only work, they work exceptionally well. The bullet train lives up to its reputation. Racing through the Japanese countryside, the only blot on the landscape is the landscape itself. Most of the journey seems to be through a sort of urban sprawl, where countryside and town seem barely distinguishable from one another. The glorious Mount Fuji is always behind a lattice of overhead cables, but it's still a little whisper of the beauty that I hope lies ahead. It took my train just 2 hours and 42 minutes to gobble up 513 kilometers. Bang on time, of course. Welcome to Kyoto.
Time and again people have said, you've got to go to Kyoto when I asked them about Wabi Sabi. This is the heart of traditional Japan, the old capital until 1868. And this is the Japan of the tea ceremony and the ryokan, the traditional inn. And here I am. And there's a Christmas tree and a station that looks like, I don't know, it looks like a hang-up for the space shuttle.
But if Kyoto is capable of spectacularly modern train stations, it's also, as promised, home to the old. For over 1,000 years, Kyoto was Japan's imperial capital, and there are some 2,000 Buddhist temples and Shinto shrines here. Here, I'm hoping to get closer to the spiritual values that underpin the Japanese. This should be Wabi Sabi Central. But arriving at Kiyomizu, one of Kyoto's most celebrated Buddhist temples, my Wabi Sabi-ometer is barely twitching at all. There are just so many people.
Say cheese. Cheese. They're doing a brisk trade in good luck charms up here. So here's what we could get. Passing exam, successful study, good health, long life, child, lucky money, happiness, victory for against disaster. That would be a good one. Traffic safety, 500 yen, so that's about £3. It's cheaper than car insurance. I'm looking for the Find Wabi Sabi charm. These are the love stones. Everyone's touching them. But the idea is that if you can walk from this one to the one over there with your eyes closed, you find your true love. He missed it. He missed it. He missed it. Try again. Try again. Yeah. What can you say? Poor guy's going to get a broken heart. This place is absolutely ravishing. You know, with these old temples and the sunset over Kyoto and the autumn leaves, and there's a smell of incense here. It's really strong. But as spiritual experiences go, you know, this is right up there with Disneyland for me.
A downside of the Japanese love of the seasons is that so many tourists have come to Kyoto to enjoy the colourful autumn leaves that there's not a single hotel room available in town. So it's the suburbs for me, and a business hotel in a small town called Kamioka. Well, so this is my room in what is really called the Pony Business Hotel, Kyoto, Japan. And let me show you my room in the Pony Business Hotel.
There I've got the manga, given free to the salaryman on the road. The yukata at the end of my bed, and a supply of them over in here, in case I have any friends to stay. And I have to say that after the Awamoto's house, this is a bit desolate and, what's the word? Clinical. Could really use a bit of Wabi Sabi. Look at that wall. As a whole, I'd have to say the Pony Business Hotel does have the air of a medium security mental hospital. And I'm not going to be sorry to leave. And I'm going to be pretty glad to get up tomorrow and look at a few temples.
I'm in Daitokuji, an area of Buddhist temples that date from the 14th century. This is, in a way, the spiritual home of Wabi Sabi, as it's here that the great tea master, Senno Rikyu, underwent Zen training and perfected the art of the tea ceremony. The tea ceremony has come up time and time again in my reading and conversations with people. I don't really understand how, but it's supposed to be one of the clearest expressions of Wabi Sabi. So I'm on my way to meet a tea master who gives formal tea ceremony lessons. I'm half imagining it will take place in some exquisite temple tea house, but in fact the tea master works from home.
Konnichiwa gozaimasu. Konnichiwa.
While I was expecting the tea master to be some sort of elderly sage, he's actually younger than I am. Mr. Kimura, it turns out, is also a big fan of Formula One, but he's even more passionate about traditional Japanese culture and values.
Thank you.
Upstairs in his house, he's built his own personal tea room for his students to practice in. It's apparently bigger than the ideal temple tea house, which can be as small as just 2 of the tatami mats that cover this floor.
Fingers in. Is that bad?
Yes. This is bad. This is correct.
Why is this bad? You're not trying to be difficult.
I knew that the tea ceremony would be intricate and take years to master, but I wasn't prepared for quite this degree of precision. It's a bit like a cross between learning a musical instrument and taking communion.
No.
Anti-clockwise?
Yes.
So the front come to your face again.
Okay. On the other mat?
Outside to the host places.
And look this tea.
Tea was first brought to Japan in the 9th century by Buddhist monks coming from China. They used it as a stimulant to stop trainee monks nodding off during meditation. Later, it was enjoyed for its own sake, and its preparation and serving was gradually refined into this.
Grip here. 3 fingers. Okay. This 3 fingers, put this.
2 spoons?
2 spoons.
I take 3
yes.
usually, but...
2. Yeah. Okay.
You just did all of them?
Yeah. Oh, no. Only once.
Yes?
More high speed. More high speed. Well done.
Thank you. Is the tea ceremony religious? Is it spiritual? Is it meditation? Is it theatre? Is it prayer? Is it performance art? You know, what as a Westerner, how can I understand it?
I don't like the word tea ceremony because I think Japanese traditional tea culture is teaism. Most important thing is philosophy. ある種のこう美しいもの、美とは何か、お互いがお客さんと、ホストとゲストが考える美とは何かっていうのをある種こう一つ宗教的に信じるものをひれきし合う場所でもありますし。
Is Wabi Sabi the same thing as teaism? Is that sense of beauty that you talk about? Is that described by the phrase Wabi Sabi?
最もいい茶会っていうのは何の言葉も交わさず何の会話もしなくてもその空間にみなぎっているもの全てからゲストが感じ取ってそのゲストが感じ取ってくれていることを言葉を掛け合わなくともホストも感じ取ってだからもう何の会話もなく全てを受け取って無言で終えられる茶会が一番いい茶会なんです。
It gets more and more. There are more and more shades of meaning to it as I explore it. It gets, I don't want to say harder and harder to understand, but it gets bigger and bigger in my mind.
まあでもそうどんどん迷っていただくのが一番いいんじゃないですかね。
My tea lesson was fascinating, even if it did sometimes feel a bit like a parody of people's fears about Japan, that everything you're doing is wrong. This is Kohoan Temple, definitely one of the most beautiful places I've ever visited. The garden is supposed to be a masterpiece of sabi, designed to evoke the seasons and the passing of time. And the monk here spends 4 hours a day keeping it immaculate.
But doing the gardening is part of the spiritual practice here, is that right? I mean, it isn't gardening and spiritual practice, gardening itself is a spiritual practice.
もう掃除するときにはもう掃除のみですね。他のことは一切考えないです。
That reminds me of the tea ceremony that Kimura sensei said that when he was making tea, all he thought about was making a good cup of tea.
茶道にしても禅にしても、結局はそのいろんないらないものを排除していって最後に残ったものっていうものを求めていくんですね。そういうところに、お茶と禅というものがくっついて、そこからそういうわびさびという言葉も出てきたんだと思います。
Can you define wabi sabi?
定義なんですかね。わびさびの定義。反対に言うとわびさびには定義がなくて定義があるところにはわびさびはないのかもしれません。難しいことなんですけど。
The monk's reluctance to define Wabi Sabi is an expression of a very Buddhist notion that language is inadequate when it comes to trying to understand the world. What he's saying is that in a sense I need to stop looking for Wabi Sabi definitions and let myself be open instead to Wabi Sabi feelings. Later in the evening, walking in Gion, the old quarter of Kyoto, I feel that this is a beautiful and reassuring indication that the world of Wabi Sabi is alive and well. The wooden houses with their paper screens, the delicate lanterns, it all feels for a second like I've travelled back in time. Here there are still working geisha.
It's like seeing a rare bird in the jungle.
But then I realised that some of these geisha are actually tourists dressed up for a night out. And most of the people here are like me, on a sort of ye olde Japan safari. And I feel I might be a couple of centuries too late to find what I came for. Like the haiku poet Basho, who said, "Even in Kyoto, I long for Kyoto."
So this is me back at my business hotel, eating my lonely salaryman dinner, bowl of noodles from the supermarket, and sushi, also from the supermarket, and tea lights, also from the supermarket, not because they're pretty, but because the previous occupant of this room smoked so much that the room's impregnated with smoke. It's weird, it's like he was smoking mustard gas flavoured cigarettes. Anyway, so this is the life of a salaryman, very, very far away from the tea ceremony. But one nice thing about this room is this really sweet little box, look. So even while he's reading manga and eating plastic food, a salaryman
can enjoy a little bit of teaism. It's quite sweet. It makes me almost like this room, but not quite. It's pouring. I've always thought the British and Japanese have more in common than we admit. Two island nations who love tea and gardening and aren't afraid of a little rain. At least this downpour provides me with an excuse to duck into a local pottery shop and see if the Wabi Sabi spirit is flowing in my fingers. Oh, it feels nice.
Yeah.
It's really nice.
Very smooth. Your right hand support your left hand to stabilize. Just feel clay thickness with your fingers.
Oh yeah, I can feel it. It's really nice feeling.
Yeah. Really slowly. Okay.
It's getting a bit sticky, I shouldn't.
Yeah, you can.
In the spirit of Wabi Sabi, I shouldn't be bothered by imperfection, but it's funny how hard it is to stop worrying about getting things right.
Now it's getting very thin now.
Yeah.
Then make a shape with
the shell. Okay.
The shell. Wow, very good.
When you are throwing a pot, do you kind of go into a? Do you feel very? What are you thinking about?
Oh, I'm feeling the shape with my hand.
Yeah.
So I'm opening my eyes, but feeling like I'm closing my eyes.
Okay.
With the right hand.
It's not as good as your one, but I think we knew that was going to be the case. I loved my all-too-brief turn at the potter's wheel. My teacher, the aptly named Zen, is the 5th generation of potter in his family. His father is the current master. When he heard about my quest, he wanted to show me something. His Wabi Sabi treasures. In the alcove hangs an 18th century scroll and a huge vase that the potter made himself.
良寛さんの書とこの壺というのはとっても僕は好きね。
Can you tell me about this vase? Is this for your own personal vase, or is it something that you will sell?
これはそっちに置いてて売れたからここへ持ってきてリザーブになってるわけね。
And how much did it sell for?
3000万円ね。
30 million. Just trying to think how it's 200,000 pounds. That's right.
Very, very.
200,000 pounds. I could buy a house for that. But you know, but why so expensive? Why so much money? I tell you why I'm asking is because I thought Wabi was extreme simplicity, and that Wabi Sabi was something that we could all aspire to, but it seems like in order to have a beautiful Wabi Sabi vase, you need to be a millionaire. I feel like I can't afford Wabi Sabi.
この良寛さんは普通は買うだけのそのお金は自分は持っていないと思ってたけど、どうしてもこれは見て欲しくなったからそこへ借金して長くかかって買ったよ。
I had thought that Wabi Sabi was potentially available to anyone, but Kyoto's version seems to be out of my price range. Here, it feels like the preserve of an elite. But in amongst the hordes of fellow tourists, I find a souvenir on the street at a price that I can afford.
2,000 yen? Yes. Okay, 2,000 yen. So that's about 15 quid.
With elegant brushstrokes, this young calligrapher writes the characters for Wabi and Sabi. And later, walking through the Maruyama Park among the autumn leaf watchers, I feel as though there is a grassroots Wabi Sabi fan base. Watching them enjoying the autumn leaves and that Sabi sense of change and decay it strikes me that this is universal. You don't have to be Japanese to be moved by autumn and what it means. I mean, think of Shakespeare's sonnets, or the English romantic poets. Think of Wordsworth, think of Keats, seasons of mist and mellow fruitfulness. Don't they all express an appreciation of the passing of time as marked in nature? Aren't they all a bit Wabi Sabi? This is Kyoto's Doshisha University. I've come to visit the professor of English literature here to see if he agrees that Wabi Sabi is a universal sensation and not confined to the Japanese. I mean, the Japanese don't have a monopoly on worshipping the seasons. And I think to all people, winter evokes death and spring rebirth. I mean, these things are universal, aren't they? And so in that sense, Wabi Sabi is a universal idea.
Yes. And no. Well, for example, the Western poems on autumn emphasizes first harvest, ripeness and wealth of daily labor on the fields, and next hope for the rebirth in spring. But in Japan, I guess the autumn is heading towards the final goal in death in winter. And that's the final answer to the futility of human existence in the universe.
So what you're saying is that that you think traditionally in Japanese culture there's much more acceptance of the final, of the fact of death. This idea, you're going to die, you're going to die, you're going to die, is much more insistent. Yes. And is that Sabi? Is that connected to Sabi, do you think?
I think so, yeah. The sense of evanescence, imperfection, transience of all beings in the universe. That's an awareness of approaching death, which sounds quite Buddhistic, right?
It sounds quite Zen.
And that's the origin of our Japanese aesthetics of Wabi Sabi.
So the Zen is in the heart, is the heart of it?
I think so, yes.
So that's where I need to go next.
Right.
The professor is very persuasive that Wabi Sabi and Buddhism are linked, and that Wabi Sabi values of transience are a part of the Japanese DNA. And the students celebrating their university's anniversary seem far from burdened by any sense of their mortality.
Great, huh?
This rapper was game enough to have a stab at a Wabi Sabi rap.
I can lay down some beats for you like this, and then you can just give me some Wabi Sabi, just let it flow.
Yo, 俺はあまりわびさびのことは知らないけれども、かますことのできるラップでこれから何を描くかと言われてみればわからないことばかりですから、この場でことことにこのスープのように必要に振る舞うことができるかと言われて
I love Kyoto. It seems to be able to embrace the youthful energy of these students, and yet preserve some of the traditions of a more ancient Japan. A lot of Kyoto is exactly what I'd hoped to find when I started my journey. But it's clear to me now that I need to move on. Everyone's telling me that Wabi Sabi is deeply rooted in Buddhism, and if I'm to get closer to it, then I need to be seeking a spiritual experience as much as an intellectual one. But before I go, I've got one final appointment. I've been invited by the tea master, Mr. Kimura, to be his guest at a real tea ceremony in a Daitokuji temple. Waiting to enter the temple's tiny tea house, I feel anxious. I'm not confident I can do this without making an idiot of myself, and yet I'm excited. I feel like I've been granted an audience with Wabi Sabi itself. In samurai times, a guest at a tea ceremony had to remove his sword before stooping to crawl into the tea house, ready for his moment of communion with his host. I just have to take my shoes off. The tea house is infused with a faint smell of incense and the warmth of the charcoal hearth. A single camellia hangs in the alcove, dew sprayed on it to evoke the sense of time passing. Sabi. This place is the real McCoy, just 2.5 mats in size. It's tiny, almost intensely small, following the rules of the great tea master, Sen no Rikyu. It's like sitting in a doll's house. I remember that the university professor told me that he believed the starkness and emptiness of tea houses is all about purification, creating a world uncontaminated by the muck and chaos of daily life. Sitting here now, I know what he means. The tea is the colour of seaweed and stronger than a double espresso. Mr. Kimura told me the taste itself evokes a sense of wabi. It's harsh and complex, imperfect, because beyond perfection is destruction.
You have a journey. You have a journey and travel, searching Wabi Sabi. Also me, traveling the journey of searching Wabi.
Searching Wabi, not Sabi.
Yes, yes.
Searching Wabi and Sabi.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. We have the same journey.
Yes.
I think you're a little further ahead than me.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you.
The tea ceremony was an extraordinary experience, closer in feeling to something religious than something purely aesthetic. And when I asked Mr. Kimura about the link between tea ceremony and Zen, he said there wasn't a link, they were the same thing. At the heart of Wabi Sabi is the tea ceremony, but at the heart of the tea ceremony is Zen Buddhism. So my journey continues. I'm heading east to Fukui, a mountainous region where there's a Zen temple which has agreed to welcome me for 24 hours. I want to see if I can follow Wabi Sabi back to what now seems like its source, the wordless sublimity of Zen. Yaz, my Tokyo host, has been taking a personal interest in my quest.
Hi.
I've invited him to join me. There's something else I want to do here, and I think it'll be more fun with a friend.
How about your trip for the Wabi Sabi?
Very good. Very good? Yeah, very good. I think I'm close to understanding it.
Close to?
Close.
Close to.
I just need a little bit more.
A little bit more? Oh.
The temple where I'll undergo my Zen training is in the foothills of a mountain range some 50 kilometers from here and well off the beaten track.
You just wanted me to draw the drive. I did this.
You did?
Yeah. I learned calligraphy while I was in Kyoto. No, I haven't. I can't believe you. I'm flattered that you thought I could.
This is your name or not?
No, it's not my name.
I'm starting to get used to Japanese formality, but the rent-a-car girls seem to set the bar to a new height, standing in the rain to see us off.
In UK, now is rainy season.
It's always the rainy season in the UK.
This is Ono City, where I'm breaking my journey. Just 10 kilometers away in the mountains to the south is Hokkyoji Temple, where I'll stay for my Zen training. But before that, I really want to stay at a ryokan, a sort of traditional Japanese inn. Because back in Tokyo, Yaz told me that these places give him a strong sense of Wabi Sabi.
Konnichiwa. Shoes off.
Marcel desu.
Marcel desu. Nice to meet you.
This way?
Okay. The ryokan owner's courtesy is exquisite. And although I'd feel awkward with bowing and scraping in my own culture, here there is a natural graciousness which reminds me of the goal of the tea ceremony, to make the guest feel totally at ease.
Ah.
Take a seat.
Our room has the simplicity of a tea room, and the hostess waits on us like guests at a tea ceremony.
Does this always happen?
This is traditional ryokan style.
Tonight, Yaz and I will both sleep on futons here. I think this combination of communal living and traditional hospitality is what gives Yaz that sense of Wabi Sabi.
So this is welcoming gift or something like that.
So like a little jelly.
In a luxury hotel in Western, some kind of welcome champagne or something like that. The same as.
Well, I know at the hotel I stay at, maybe they might put a tiny chocolate, maybe tea and coffee making facilities. What is it?
The jello, like a jello.
It's coffee flavored jelly.
Yeah.
Before dinner, Yaz and I decide to head out for a taste of Ono nightlife. Not far from our ryokan, we come across the Boston Club, a smoky bar that feels for all the world like we're stepping out of Japan and into a London pub, with beer, darts, and pool. It's a chance for me to take my mind off tomorrow's temple ordeal, but my opponent turns out to be the local ladies' champion.
I'm going to be a monk tomorrow, so I'm going to have a beer and lose at pool.
Oh yeah, good one.
Realizing that I'm not going to provide much competition, she turns her attention to the temple and a well-intentioned demonstration of the Zen meditation that lies ahead.
I can't even sit cross-legged for more than about 20 minutes. Can you? Can you do lotus position? Show us lotus position. Oh, that's how you do it. I can't do that. Am I gonna?
Because when I
That's the best I can do. It's not gonna happen. You're a monk.
I got a good night's sleep in the ryokan, and Yaz's humour has been a godsend. But as we drive towards the temple, I'm starting to feel a bit worried. The monks' lives are notoriously hard.
It's a big moment for me.
I wish Yaz was going to come with me, but this is something I must do alone. For 24 hours, I'll live by the monks' rules as I try to get closer to the essence of Wabi Sabi.
All right.
Please call me.
Why? I can't call you. I haven't got a phone.
Oh, sorry.
Walking up to the temple, through the dense cedar forest, past the watching Buddhas, there's a definite aura here. If I was time traveling in Kyoto, this feels like another dimension altogether. Hokkyoji Temple usually has around 10 monks living here at any one time, the majority completing their Zen training.
ようこそいらっしゃいました。
私の名前はマルセルです。
どうも。どうぞ。どういうところを。
To my great relief, one of the monks is an English-speaking Pole. His Buddhist name is Daido, and he's been assigned to help me. I'm straight away led to a meeting with the temple's abbot, who's graciously allowed me to stay here.
ここでおはようしましょう。
Are we going to prostrate to each other?
Okay.
So,上のあれを取って。
You can take off
My
your
coat.
coat here.
Thank you. I'm just going to put my coat out here.
右の足、左の足。
First your right leg and then your left leg.
右の手、
Your right hand, then your left hand.
The abbot's greeting confirms my apprehension that there'll be nothing easy about temple life. It takes 3 prostrations just to say hello.
そしてゆっくりと下ろす。
And you raise your hands.
で、左手、右
And then
手。
your left hand and
First left hand and then right?
yeah, and your
Okay.
right hand.
First left foot and then right.
Right leg, right knee and left knee.
いらっしゃい。Welcome.
Thank you.
何か質問ありますか。
I would like to say thank you so much for letting me stay here. This is the culmination of my visit to Japan. I came to Japan because I was interested in Wabi Sabi. Do you think I will be able to understand Zen and Wabi Sabi?
できる部分とできない部分があるんですね。あなたは一番ごちそうは何ですか。自分の今まで食べてきた中でこれが食べたいなと思う。
In my whole life?
Yes.
I'm not even sure. I don't even know. It was probably something my mum made for me when I was a child.
私はね、玄米のおかゆが一番ごちそうだと思います。食べるということでわびさびだったら、そういう、この玄米のおかゆがサビという概念に合うんじゃないですかね。
Brown rice is traditionally considered very lowly in Japan. It's simple food, embodying the spirit of wabi, which is a guiding principle of life here, stripping away anything that's unnecessary.
Fine. I'll change into this then.
Yeah.
So it's is there anything I need to know about how to wear it? It's just
No, don't worry. You will see.
Okay.
So you can.
And putting on my monastic robes,
Okay.
I realise that I'm entering that process myself, surrendering a bit of my personality. Everything here is highly ritualized and precise and has to be learned. Dinner is no exception.
Look at this.
Right. That I won't be able to do.
So if you could maybe.
I'll try.
No problem.
I'm not sure, but okay. How about that? What if you can't sit in the lotus? I mean, what if you physically can't?
Lotus. It take for me 1 year.
1 year to do this.
Yeah.
I can't even sit properly, let alone comprehend the notion that the set of bowls you eat from are to be treated as though they're the Buddha's head. 3 times a day, the monks move to the temple Great Hall to chant. Zen is a branch of Buddhism which emphasizes intuition and experience over reason and theory. The goal is to try and let go of the thinking, rational side of the mind, freeing yourself from your ego until you're living entirely in the moment. This is obviously challenging for a novice like me. I'm supposed to be emptying my mind, but I keep thinking that the discipline required for this life is extraordinary. For me, it's deeply uncomfortable. It's amazing that I ever imagined there would be anything easy or casual about Wabi Sabi. Being in the temple feels like being on board a ship. The wooden floors creak, and there's the constant sound of water running off the mountain. Thankfully, I have my own room, unlike the monks, who all sleep alongside each other in the Zen meditation hall. Home sweet home. There's one thing about this room is it's unbelievably cold. It's hard not to think that the kind of discipline of Zen, or the conscientiousness of it, is somehow spread through Japanese society, because that's what foreign experience of Japan is like. Is like a lot of rules and a lot of etiquette and a lot of formal observances that as a foreigner you get hopelessly wrong. And coming here, this is like the kind of mothership of all that. I'm going to practice my sitting down. That's pretty good. If I could do this for more than 2 minutes, I'd be in. The abbot in charge of the temple gives me his beginner's guide to Zen meditation. Hokkyoji Temple is part of the Soto sect of Buddhism, in which enlightenment, or satori, comes from an emptying of the mind in order to open your subconscious to the vast emptiness known as Kyu. This must be the ultimate expression of Wabi, letting go of your conscious mind. Zazen meditation punctuates the monks' days. 4 sessions of up to an hour and a half. This is the last of the day before they turn in for the night at 9 o'clock. I find it hard enough just maneuvering myself into position.
You see, there is a tradition from India actually, that because in India they were using the fingers to wipe the ass.
Right.
So you don't use these fingers.
Right.
Yeah, so you kind of use your 3 fingers only.
You don't put your bottom on it?
Yeah. You just kind of try to carry your ass over. Yeah.
That's hard.
Yeah, it is hard, but if you get used to it.
Put my feet on the table.
Then if you can kick off with whatever, and you just turn facing the wall.
Sitting here, I keep thinking how different this is from Western notions of fulfillment. Instead of acquiring wealth, Being praised, having relationships, the monks have given up everything to get in touch with some elusive inner emptiness. By the time the wooden block is struck to signal the end of the session, I do feel that I've got a glimpse of something, a sense of internal peace, a little taste of Wabi Sabi. But as I head for bed, it occurs to me that there's no let-up for the monks here. Their hard life is like an amazingly complicated dance, which in the end whirls you away into cosmic emptiness.
Yeah, it was good. It was good. My legs are still, you know, I still can't sit comfortably, so it's pretty hard to forget self when your legs are going, hey, hey, you know. Your legs have to be quiet, no, to get...
It's after temple lights out and we shouldn't be talking, but I feel this is my moment. My Polish mentor may not be Japanese, but he surely knows a bit about Wabi Sabi.
Wabi Sabi is a... You speak Japanese, you must know the phrase Wabi Sabi.
I know the phrase, but...
I think Wabi means incomplete, and it means simple beauty, something very simple. But something to do with Zen. Zen is related to Wabi Sabi. Zen's...
Why not?
No, it is. I think it is.
It is?
Yeah.
It is. It's like...
I tell you what, do you have Wabi Sabi in Poland?
No.
Are you sure?
Yes.
But Polish people could understand Wabi Sabi.
That's the Polish way of thinking of Wabi Sabi.
They can understand the Polish way?
Yeah. In Japan, you know, it's slightly different.
One meaning of Wabi Sabi is of a rustic simplicity, right? And I bet in the Polish countryside, you see little old houses with a roof, you know, a little bit crooked, and there's old people living there who they collect mushrooms, and they have a cow, and they have a pig, and they chop firewood, and they live very simply. And there's something a bit Wabi Sabi about that.
That's Polish Wabi Sabi. Yeah, I agree.
So we can all have Wabi Sabi.
Sure. You've got it in London too.
You've been to London?
Yeah.
Did you see any Wabi Sabi?
There is a lot of Japanese there. This is Wabi Sabi.
This?
Yeah. There's something missing.
There's something, i.e. my sheets?
You are missing here.
Right.
This is Wabi Sabi.
You're messing with my mind. In an interesting way. I wasn't accusing you of anything. I don't want to keep you up. I know we have to get up in about
6 hours.
6 hours, yeah.
So probably I'm going to wake you up tomorrow about 4.
That's fine.
Yeah. Have a good rest.
And you. Thank you. See you in the morning.
Yeah, see you in the morning.
Arigatou gozaimasu. I like him. This is a very beautiful and austere place.
very nice to me, but you can see that just to get the simple things, do the simple things properly here, it takes years. And it's weird because, you know, this whole Buddhism is founded on an awareness of the impermanence of things, which is the root of Wabi Sabi as well. The impermanence of things. And yet, you know, instead of sort of thinking, you know, things are impermanent, I'm just going to open a beer, lie on the sofa, watch football, or, you know, wear a fat suit, slop around, or, you know, play on the fruit machines for the rest of my life. They take the opposite tack and say, I'm going to commit to this very, very difficult and austere life, and that's what will give it meaning in a cosmic way. I don't know, it's very strange. It's 4 o'clock in the morning when, as promised, I'm woken by my Polish friend. I'm not really a morning person, anyway. I survived 50 minutes of pre-dawn meditation, only to find things step up a gear for breakfast. Breakfast is, I'm told, the most formal meal of the temple day. It must be one of the great euphemisms of all time. This makes the tea ceremony seem like a tea party. And to be honest, I'm beginning to struggle. This is too much for me. Maybe that's the thing, the me part, the me time that I found so hard to see in the lives of the Japanese. I'm attached to a world in which individuals put themselves first. But to feel Wabi Sabi, maybe I need to leave the me part behind. And clearly the monks are better equipped to do that than I am. This is the porridge that the abbot said gave him the taste of Wabi Sabi. I can't taste that, but I can see that its austerity and the purposefulness of the way it's served has an echo of the monks' lives. Life at the temple is almost the opposite of what I thought Wabi Sabi was when I arrived in Japan, an organic, artless aesthetic. Sometimes it feels like a boot camp here, but I can also see that in a way the monks embody the essence of Wabi Sabi, constantly aware of their own mortality, their possessions pared down to a set of bowls and a robe. Life doesn't get much more simple than that.
いかがですか？あなたはここへ来てどういうカルチャーショックを受けましたか？
I had culture shock in Japan and more culture shock in the monastery, because the life you have here is very, very, it's uncomfortable and difficult and very disciplined, and everything in my culture is about being more comfortable and relaxed and taking it easy, and here everything you do is about having attention to what you're doing, so it's very, very difficult for me.
名誉だとか利益だとか栄誉によってみんないわゆる混乱している。それが人生すべてだと思ってる。そうじゃなくて一旦こう外してみて、そしていわゆるもう一度自分というものをよく見つめて、 そして相手もいい、自分もいい、みんなもいいという道を選んでいく。それがやっぱりわびさびに通ずる道になっていくと私は思いますね。
The abbot had a parting gift for me.
It's beautiful.
私の師匠だと思ってます、この山がね。
Is this your Wabi Sabi?
Talking to the abbot, I feel I don't really disagree with anything he says. We're born, we die, we're a cosmic irrelevance. Our problems are illusory and arise from our over-identification with our ego. And the monks' lives make a lot of ours look a bit absurd. The problem is that although I like what they're doing up here, I'm clearly no monk. But I don't think that disqualifies me from my enthusiasm for Wabi Sabi. Not at all. And you certainly don't have to be a monk to appreciate these woods here in the shadow of the temple.
See, I don't know if this is everyone's idea of Wabi Sabi, or it's the tea master's idea of Wabi Sabi. But this is my idea of Wabi Sabi. Something about the cedars and the darkness and the tumble-down shack over there and the thought that human beings used to live here and it's been reclaimed by nature and moss. This place is beautiful to me. I think it does evoke a sense of, you know, the transience of human life, that we're all going to die and things carry on, and there's a sort of artless beauty. And so I think that, you know, this will always be my Wabi Sabi.
It's said that it's better to travel with hope than to arrive. I came to Japan in the hope of finding out more about Wabi Sabi, and I certainly have. We're living in an age which is being derailed by a culture of greed, of possessions, of bling. Wouldn't we be so much better off if our journey through life were guided instead by a spirit that celebrates silence and the smallness of things, the inevitability of change, the impossibility of perfection, and the happiness of others? I think we could all do with a bit of that. It seems to me that the time is ripe for Wabi Sabi, however hard it might be to define.
How are you doing? Nice to see you.
How was last night?
It was good, actually.
Did you find Wabi Sabi?
I did. I'll tell you what it is.
Keep it on BBC4. Our Hidden Japan season continues next tonight with comedy movie Ping Pong.